try to make me feel embarrassed. There are taps I've been in names, but they tell me I'm the one with problems. They're the ones who are insane, so for those who want but won't admit it, you shouldn't feel like that, cause you could be 20% cooler and 10 seconds slower. Shout it out. I'm proud to be a brony. Yeah, yeah. I'm proud to be a brony.
Hello mares and gentle colts, my fellow bronies. Welcome to another special edition of I'm Brony and I'm Proud. I've got Tim Slovchek and Brandon O'Brien from Everfree Northwest with me. G'day Tim and Brandon.
Hey, how's it going?
Very well, thanks. How are you guys going?
I'm doing pretty fantastic. Well. I'm seriously making announcements, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Absolutely. And Brandon, how about yourself?
Absolutely great. It is a lovely day up here in Seattle, Washington.
It is a less than lovely day in Chicago. Cold and windy. It's just like howling out there. Not a fan.
So it is true. It is the Windy City.
Just last week, it was like beautiful in the 70s, Midwest weather. Yet, if you don't like it, just wait a little bit. If you do like it, just enjoy it while you can because it's not going to stay.
Rainbow Dash sometimes tends to pick a city and just go random.
Exactly.
And that's her thing. Randomness would be Pinky. Discord. Who will be at Everfree Northwest?
John Delancey will be making his first appearance at Everfree of Northwest. That's really exciting. So, the man himself, Q, also Colonel Frank Simmons with Stargate SG-1, and even made an appearance on Breaking Bad. So, there's a guy who's crossed all fandoms and has got geeks and nerds alike eating out of his hooves. It's him. First, the dynamite question. How did you guys become bronies? And we'll start with you, Tim.
Well, this was back when I was a senior in college, end of my schooling career at that time. And the first I ever noticed that there was a new MLP show on the market, I was walking through the common area. One of my friends on the Centrique, she was doing art. She was watching some of the MLP episodes. I didn't realize there was a new one. So I really didn't think anything of it. Give it a couple of weeks. We and a friend had just finished our laundry. We get to a store. I'm like, so what you going to be doing? And like, you watch some ponies. Seriously? I was flabbergasted. I couldn't believe it. We actually watched 3 or 4 episodes, and I had to admit, I thought it was good. So over the weeks, I watched the entire first season before the second season had come out. I think it was a month away, and it was around that time I heard John Delancey, who I knew from Star Trek and SG-1, I was a big fan of, going to be making an appearance on the show. And so I got pretty hyped. Slowly but surely, I started getting more and more involved and invested. First, it was little things, like a help out project here, hang out with a few bronies there. Eventually, though, the very first Everfree Northwest, I thought the idea of a BronyCon was ridiculous. I mean, any of your brony needs can be handled at like a Comic-Con or something. Convention specific to a single show didn't make any sense to me. But the first Everfree in 2012, at the time they had sold out completely, so I ended up going as a volunteer. That was the only way I could actually get there and get in, so that's kind of how I got started with this whole thing. And then later on, I became involved in the My Little Investigations game project as a field character animator. So pretty much, I mean, between those two, and now here I am. I'm like deeply invested in the community. That's kind of my story. That's how I got involved, slowly but surely.
Fantastic. Thank you, Tim. And over to you, Brandon.
I first discovered this show back in November 2010. That was when Season 1 was still airing, and it was because of the great and powerful 4chan. I built my first bicycle, and I asked /B to name my bicycle. Someone came up with the name Twilight Sparkle. And I was like, that's a really sick name. Sweet. And then like a bunch of comments happened after that with like pictures of ponies. And then I was like, I should probably check out the show if I just named my first bike build after this. I did the whole 3 episode. I watched the first 3 episodes and I was hooked. At the start, I was super all about Twilight Sparkle. At episode 3 or 4, I was like, yeah, no Pinkie Pie. And yeah, that's how I did it. And then like randomly through Facebook, like I found that there was a Seattle Bronies meetup group, and I went to the first meetup, comic book shop, and it was just someone brought a bunch of cupcakes and some dude like brought his guitar. I actually play drums for his band now. We're Don DeVore and the Cutie Marks. I came back from this meetup going like, yeah, these are my people. A couple months later, someone's like, oh, hey, we're going to make a convention in Seattle. And I was like, oh, awesome. I want to be a part of this. And I submitted an application to like DJ the Grand Galloping Gala, which is our initial idea, just have a dance party. And then I fell into leadership role with Pony Stock and just kind of went with it. So I've been part of Pony Stock since day one.
Outstanding. And how does Pony Stock relate to Everfree Northwest?
Pony Stock is our big dance party concert that happened Friday, Saturday night. 2013, we registered a earthquake on the Richter scale because of how hard we dance.
I think it was a 1.0 on the Richter scale.
Exactly. It was something like that. Like, we registered as a legitimate earthquake because we raised so hard.
Awesome. Nobody parties hard like Brody's. Is that right, fellas?
That is absolutely correct.
We party hearty.
So this sort of leads into the next question, which is, how did Everfree Northwest start and why? Delving into a bit of the past, history, and your experiences, I guess. Maybe just drawing perhaps from the very first year of Everfree Northwest.
This actually goes back all the way to 2011. Now, we had the Northwest Brony Fest in Portland, Oregon. That was the first MLP event on record on Meetup.com to reach 100 attendees. This was administered by the Seattle Bronies. Now, this was first evidence that we've noted as what would become Everfree Northwest. The region could actually support a small MLP convention. What really cemented that this could happen, though, during the Rainforest Furry Convention, there was a MLP hangout. It ballooned into well over 100 people trying to fit into that one room. As I said, this cemented the idea that a MLP fan con could work in Seattle, setting up the idea for Everfree Northwest. Our first con was in 2012, and they were capping it at 600 attendees at first.
At the good old Holiday Inn.
Yep, at the good old Holiday Inn. They sold out on tickets completely. There was still plenty of time before the con, so they actually raised the cap to 1,000. Well, guess what? They sold out again. The cap raised to 1,500, and we actually secured separate hotels. So we were at 2 hotels. There's actually a little bit of a joke between people from 2012. There was a hill between the 2 conventions, so people were constantly going up and down the hill. So we all wanted to get shirts that said, "I survived."
HillCon 2012.
Oh, yeah. Our next con in 2013 moved to the Seattle Hilton Convention Center. We've been there ever since. This will be our 3rd year there. In 2013, we had 2,200 attendees. That's not including staff. That was just attendees. And 2014, over 2,500. I believe we had 300 kids as well at that event. And actually, fun note, Everfree Northwest was the very first 3-day MLP fan convention. That's something that I find very encouraging between all of these various conventions. I would say there's a little rivalry there just because, we want people to come to our con, but it's like the friendliest of rivalries, and we're all friends. And a lot of our staffers work at other events. I worked at Equestria LA for a couple of years.
The AV staff, 90% of them at Everfree Northwest also ran AV for BabsCon and Brony Can up in Vancouver, so we all kind of share the same staff.
It's all about friendship.
Excellent. Over to you, Brandon. Our listeners, and of course myself included, to sort of understand the history and experience from the music perspective. Talk to us about that.
Well, how it kind of started is me, myself, being a part of staff for Everfree Northwest. I sent in an application for an idea of DJing a dance party called the Grand Galloping Gala. It was like, hey, let's all dance and have fun, have a good time. And then I think year 1, someone else, this guy, Calvin, goes by the name Derpidity, he was planning an event called Pony Stock down in California. So us as Everfree talked with him like, hey, we actually have a whole convention going on. Like, why don't you have Pony Stock up in Seattle instead? And he was like, all right, cool, awesome. And so we kind of sucked up the whole Pony Stock idea and turned that into a big concert. And instead of just having a generic dance party called the Grand Galloping Gala, like, we actually put on a full concert of Brony musicians thanks to Derpidity and his efforts, with Pony Stock.
And it's still called Pony Stock to this day.
That's an awesome name.
Imagine if Jimi Hendrix was a Brony, man.
That would be some of the trippiest music ever.
Certainly would.
Considering some of the stuff he was into, he may have been seeing pastel ponies. You don't know.
Absolutely, you never know, Of course, the musicians of the fandom have become famous in their own right and so on, and the showcases continue to grow daily basis, the amount of music being churned out by the fandom, and people saying, oh, I survived the hiatus, there's so much going on, really? Brother show of mine, which is Lycan These Beats on Camelot Hill, they struggle to fit all the new music that's coming out each week onto their show, so it's an interesting problem to have. I guess on that note, is that a challenge with Pony Stock? Do you find that you're getting so many names in, and do you have the unfortunate situation to say no, or do you find every way possible to fit them in?
Yeah, it does provide a little bit of a challenge, and as much as I would like to say yes to everyone because we're all friends and we all love My Little Pony and all that stuff, kind of unfortunate we have to be in that position of telling people no. What it all kind of boils down to is whether or not you're a performer as opposed to someone who just makes music, because we've had people who make really awesome music and they're really good producers and they orchestrate everything super well. But when it comes to performance, they plug an AV jack into their laptop and hit play and dance around. Like, it's not really a performance. So kind of have to really hone in on people who are performing an act as opposed to people who just make awesome pony music.
So guys, let's take a trip down memory lane for a bit. Looking back at your experiences from first year onwards with the guests and the community, care to talk about that, starting with you, Tim?
Oh, no. I have a few fun stories about Everfree Northwest. I remember last year, I actually went on a road trip. Now, I live in Chicago, in the Chicago area. It's about 2,000 miles from where I live to Seattle. So it was going to be about 35 hours to get there, one way. Myself, Cal Payne, and Couch Crusader of Equestria Daily, and Valcron, one of the vendors, took Cal Payne's car. He drove around Lake Michigan, picked each of us up in turn. Valcron actually stayed at my house for a bit, and yeah, just had an epic road trip up to Seattle. Thankfully, Cal Payne, he loves driving. I like driving, but only for like 2 hours at a time, maybe 3, before I'm like, okay, I need to take a break. When we got there, there was this one sushi place, and we went at least 3 times to this one sushi place there. So good. Actually, the most striking memory of when we got there, it was like we were getting ready to enter Seattle, and there was like a little touristy stop type thing. It was like, hey, pull over here to see this site, and the sun was just setting, and it just lit up the sky. It was like on fire, and so many great colors. Oh, it was beautiful.
So it's safe to say that Celestia had a bit of a present for you for your arrival.
Well, more like a combo because it was setting, so Luna was about to come and take over.
So a 2-for-1 deal.
First year I worked for Everfree back in 2012, we had Andrew Francis, the voice actor of Shining Armor. And I was acting as a media gopher. No, go for this, go for that. And one of the press people asked me to hook them up with Andrew. I got them connected. And they shot this video where Andrew Francis fake beat these guys up for making fun of bronies, along with a bunch of other bronies. And there I am watching this and be like, oh, I don't know if I should be letting them do this. It turned out fantastic. Just I got to hang out with Andrew Francis for a short time, but he seemed like a really chill guy.
I like what you said about road trip because I went to PonyCon AU this year, my first pony convention, and I ended up doing a bit of road tripping myself. I actually was doing the rounds and picking up bronies from airports. That was actually a lot of fun, and picking them up on the way to the Gold Coast. I have to ask, Tim, did you have the brony tunes pumping the driver on the way?
Not so much. Thankfully, at a charger, I was able to use my laptop while we were on the road. And actually, when he had connection, Cal was able to allow us to use his phone as a hotspot. We had some music every once in a while pumping, but not too much.
Cool. But yeah, definitely on the road trip I was on, just pretty much pony music all the way through. And by the time we got to the convention, I believe we got to M with Mondo Pony sort of bringing us there. And then I think listening to most of it on the way back. Over to you, Brendan. Talk about your experiences of the last few years with Everfree.
I was kind of racking my brain trying to think of a whole lot of fun stories. Year one, my highlight of my time was I randomly met Andrew Francis in the hotel bar, and I was just like, look over and there's Shining Armor, and I'm like, whoa, hey man, how's it going? And he's like, hey, good. And then I bought him a shot of whiskey and we cheersed, and I got to do shots with Andrew Francis. That was the one cool thing that I remember that happened year one. Year two, my big highlight, super nerd squee moment was during opening ceremonies, someone started singing Smile Song, and randomly enough, Andrea Libman came up on stage and started singing along. And then, my buddy Don grabbed his guitar, and then I ended up hopping on drums, and I got to play drums with Pinkie Pie. That was my one, oh, my heart just melted. Oh, God, I could die happy. Everfree last year, one of our special guests was Rebecca Shoykit, singing voice of Twilight Sparkle, and as part of her thing, she performed at Pony Stock, and I got to play drums with Twilight Sparkle, and we play the theme song with the lady who actually sang the song. That was a whole lot of fun.
Okay, wow. So, in the theme song every time, that's her voice.
Yes.
Wow. The only word to describe that is magical.
It was amazing. Our con chair at the time, Royal, he was kind of running out of things to say, or he had more time than he prepared for the opening ceremonies. And then someone just yelled out sing a song. And then he kind of started singing Smile. And then Andrea Libman jumped on stage and started singing. And then Don grabbed his guitar and started playing. And then I hopped on the drums and started playing. Happened very organically. And the whole time I just had this big, giant smile on my face. I'm like, oh my God, this is happening. So yeah, it was amazing.
Is it true that Andrea Lindman has a lot of energy?
Absolutely. I know she voices Fluttershy, but she is very much the embodiment of Pinkie Pie.
Okie dokie. Fast tracking to the present. Guest lineup. Everfree 2015. Well, some real big names here. And John Delancey, Nick Oliver, yep, Tabitha St. Germain, Ingrid Nielsen. Oh my goodness. I saw Ingrid at PonyCon AU. Oh my gosh, she's lovely. Jason Thiessen. Oh yes. All the big guns coming out here. So, this is probably a question perhaps for some listeners that are curious. How do I get these awesome people to a convention?
That you need to ask our guest relations guys. Honestly, it's still all the voodoo to me. I know that they go through agencies for the most part, at least for like the bigger names, and work out a contract. It's very official. It's not like we go, hey, you should come to our con, and we're like, yeah, totally. Schedules have to work, usually like featured and special guests who attend the convention. That all has to be worked out, and from my understanding, I mean, we could be working on somebody for over a month, if not more, to just finalize our contract with them to get them to the convention. Super blessed to just have so many amazing people coming. I'm super hyped about John Delancey. Was a fan of his beforehand through Star Trek, him being cute. Actually, I think that's what got me on with season 2. Hearing that he was going to be on there, and he was going to be playing a Draconicus version of Q. I was like, okay, I'm on board, let's do this.
And Brandon, your thoughts on the current guest lineup for Everfree Northwest?
I'm really excited about it because a lot of the big headliners that we're having are guests that haven't been to Everfree Northwest before.
Does the lineup increase each year? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 headliners this year. With the first Everfree, was it as big as that?
I remember the first year I wanted to go badly because they actually did have a very extended lineup. In fact, I think they had all of the main 6 VAs plus Spike, except
Ashley Ball,
who is fantastic. I've actually went to one of her Hey Ocean concert. Everyone, if you haven't listened to Hey Ocean, I'd recommend giving them a shot. And all the CMCs, and that was just the voice actors that we had. We had many more. I think we'll be on par. After that, we've been trying to refine it. We kind of got away from the mentality of bring everybody. We want to bring as many people as possible, but we also don't want to keep bringing the same people year after year after year. As mentioned, we want to have a little variety. Brandon mentioned we have a lot of first-timers. John Delancey, first Everfree. Another really big name that we have coming is Bonnie Zackerly. I'm hoping I'm saying that last name correctly, but she is the original creator of the MLP toy line from back in the 80s. We're going to have the person who first influenced Lauren Faust with the My Little Pony toys, as well as got the ball rolling on creating the franchise in the first place. But yeah, on top of those big names, we have other amazing people coming. This is the first year for Ingrid Nielsen. She's the VA for Maud Pie. We also have Kelly Sheridan, who seems to be taking over the MLP fan con circuit. I think we're the 4th con to announce her, the voice actress for Starlight Glimmer. She has over 20 years of voiceover experience. Jason Thiessen, the supervising director for the show, and Big Jim Miller started off as a storyboard artist and now is a director for the show.
Kelly Sheridan, Starlight Glimmer, definitely became an instant fan favorite. Another character shut down Twilight Sparkle in one of her famous speeches. You know you've commanded some respect in the fandom.
Oh, indeed. I completely agree. The idea that she suffered a setback, but she escaped and she wasn't reformed, and while she was a hypocrite, she also truly believed in what she was doing. She wasn't evil for the sake of evil, which actually I think is a strength of the franchise. You don't have people evil for the most part for the sake of evil. You have Queen Chrysalis, who in the end it's all about feeding her and her subjects. Nightmare Moon, it's all about feelings of resentment and jealousy and having to deal with that. Discord, that's just who he is. He's just Avatar of Chaos. I wouldn't call him malicious. Definitely not now, since he's been somewhat reformed. This got me on a little bit of a tangent. Just going on that, I do think the show's villains are quite well done, especially for a show aimed for young kids.
Absolutely, and I like to think of Discord as just a lovable rascal. And are you guys aware of Peter Williams, who played Apophis from Stargate SG-1?
I mean, I know him from Stargate SG-1. A few years ago, I did watch all 10 seasons, so I am very familiar with him in that role. I'm not familiar with the actor per se.
Anyway, it was just referring to the character, sort of like Discord. He just really enjoyed being evil, just enjoyed being bad, demonstrating some of the more complications to do with human behavior, and Starlight Glimmer really bringing it to light. Like you said, Tim, not like evil for the sake of evil. She really sticks to her guns, and as you know, with each episode, there's an explosion of fan art. One of many comics was showing that Starlight Starlight Glimmer wasn't able to take out books at the library because Twilight Sparkle was getting special treatment. Some people have got to really hit it on the nose with the headcanon. In regards to Queen Chrysalis, listeners, if you haven't listened to Inkrose's headcanon on Queen Chrysalis, definitely a good listen on YouTube.
We have several returning guests as well. We have Nicole Oliver, the voice actress for Princess Celestia, and she really has a long career in animation. One of my favorite stories of her, actually the first year, I recall, a young girl who wanted to ask her a question at a VA panel. She got so shy she couldn't speak, so she went and sat back down, and Nicole Oliver actually went into the crowd and sat next to her and held her and gave her reassurances, and it was just like one of the most spectacular things that I've seen. And Tabitha St. Germain, VA for Rarity, and Princess Luna, big favorite. We will have both princesses at the convention. Lee Tokar, VA for Stephen Magnet, and also did Spot the Dog, Diamond Dog. Now, I think we've had him for 2 other years as well, and he is always a very fun guy to have.
He is so much fun. He's such an awesome guy.
And Brandon, what does that mean for Lee Tokar?
He's one of those people that he's just so into just doing voices and being a character that any VA panel that I've ever seen him on, at Everfree or otherwise, he will just start making noises and just go into characters and start doing voices. And it's almost to the point that like the moderator has to be like, hey, this is really cool, but like you just went on a rant in like the voice of Snails for like 15 minutes and he'll just go on a tangent forever if you'll let him. You wind him up and let him go, and it's just a whole pile of awesome. It's just super entertaining to watch every single time I've seen it.
I gotta get myself to Everfree Northwest the next time I'm in the country, just for that alone. And Tim, is it a similar response from you?
Not had the pleasure of hanging out with him myself, but I mean, just seeing him on the panel has such vibrant energy. And also, he very commonly also gets involved with the charity auction, and they're hyping things up, be like, yeah, give your money for a good cause. Yeah, I mean, we will be raising money again for Seattle Children's Hospital. I'm pretty sure we'll be seeing him again on the auction block, getting everyone hyped and excited about all the amazing things we're gonna have at that. He is just a really fun guy, you know, fun-loving, seems very easygoing, very easy and fun to interact with, always fun on the panel.
Charity auction for the Seattle Hospital. Is this a charity that's been held from the very beginning of the convention?
Over the past 3 years, have raised more than $75,000 for Seattle Children's. In fact, last year we had a charity quilt. It was 36 squares, and it had several signatures on it, including Lauren Faust. I actually was there when that sold, organized by White Heather. That sold for $20,000, which I think is the most expensive item ever sold at one of these auctions at any of the MLP fan cons. I remember actually I was sitting next to my friend, the Macarian. He actually bid $12,000 on it before the person came and bid $20,000. You should have just seen the crowd. I mean, when $20,000 happened, it just simply erupted. It was amazing. Speaking of the auction, are still accepting donations. Go to everfreenw.com/charity to fill out a donation form. We will accept pre-con donations until May 15th. If you want to donate at the con, we will definitely accept it. Along with the charity auction, we have a couple of other charity things going on. We will actually have donation bins for food, toys, and books. We will also have a CCG charity tournament to benefit Toys for Tots.
Wow.
My hope is we get past the $100,000 mark for our charity auction this year, so the cumulative amount that we've raised over the 4 years will surpass $100,000, which I think is definitely doable.
Everfree Northwest always kind of has a big spot in my heart is because we've raised so much money for Seattle Children's. And 2 years ago, my niece had to go into Seattle Children's because she had a cyst in her brain and she had to go get a stent put in. And my little sister, we couldn't afford a whole lot of those medical bills. And Seattle Children's footed the bill, and it was all done based off of donation. I like to think in my head that it was because of the efforts, the Brony community and Everfree Northwest and all the generosity that happens at things like these charity auctions. My niece is still alive today because of that. As I said, it's something that really hits close to home with me, and kindness and the generosity of all the Bronies makes my heart melt just thinking about it.
That's beautiful, Brandon. Thank you very much for sharing that. And I have to ask, does your niece like ponies as well?
She's still a little young. I give her like some plushies for Christmas. Still a little too young. It's a fluffy thing with bright colors. So
Of course. And I'm glad to hear that she's doing well. And big shout out to the Seattle Children's Hospital. You guys do great work, and thank you so much in what you've done for Brandon's family. It goes both ways. You give and you give back. So like you said, Brandon, spirit of generosity is definitely far and wide within the fandom. Well, I guess one of my wishes is that the Brony fandom infects the world with all the elements of harmony. So that's something I'd very much look forward to.
Very well put.
We have our community guests in sections. So for our YouTubers, we have Dusty Cat, podcast personality, the manliest brony in the world, host of Stay Brony, My Friends. We have I Love Kim Possible a lot, a critic, reviewer, and analyst for the fandom, and the #1 Discord fangirl. We also have Shades of Everfree, a 2D Flash animator. He's actually currently working on a promo animation for the convention. It'll be out before the con. We have the Fiery Joker, founder of the Brony military website, FOB Equestria. We have Dr. Wolf, reviewer and the unofficial psychologist for the Brony fandom, host of A Moment with Dr. Wolf. We have Jake Wyman, a video editor. We have Argo Damon, source filmmaker, 3D animator. There's a Magpie Pony, who is a writer, voice actress, and director, creator of Princess Trixie Sparkle.
So that takes care of the YouTubers. How about the artists? There's definitely a big lineup as well here.
And a very varied lineup as well. We have Dana Simpson. She is a professional comic artist and writer. We have Leakfish, award-winning cosplayer and convention artist. We have Silver Slinger, a jewelry designer. We have Screw Loose, embroiderer. We have Igor, who creates MLP-themed formal wear and is the creator of the Oculus Rift virtual reality simulator of Ponyville, which he will have at his vendor.
Tim, let's just do a rapid fire. Cosplayers, gaming, podcasters, and the writers.
We have cosplayers Blue, who is a Everfree Northwest staffer. Gaming, we have the creator of the Buck Legacy game. Legends of Equestria is going to be there, the MMO project, over 100,000 players. We have Twilight Sparkle's Secret Shipfit folder. Pony Finder is going to be there. Silver Game LLC, Newbie Spud, the creator of the Friendship is Dragons webcomic, and the Gaming Cults, creators of Alicorn Princess Blast. Podcasters, Bronyville, Apple Cider, and Chef Sandy. Mike Check, the host, editor, and creator of Canterlot Radio, personal friend of mine, and Pony Toast. We also have a couple of fan fiction writers, Gary Oak, known for his stories like Repercussions, and Twilight Sparkle's not-so-secret Shipfic folder, and Horse Voice, known for his horror stories such as Writing on the Wall and Biblical Monsters.
Do you guys want to hear who we got booked for Pony Stock?
Hell yeah! Bring on the pony stock.
All right, cool. So, in no particular order, we have Luna Jax, Maestro Scherzo, and Brightside, Born the Cutie Marks, featuring myself, D-Notive, Fenning, DJ Tetsuo, Garnica, Jeff Burgess and the Badmares, Pony One Kenobi, Charby, Felix, DJ Scootaloose, Automatic Jack, Hack, Stratch Attack, and Silverhound.
Applications are still open, correct, for volunteers?
Yes, indeed. We are pretty much always looking for volunteers, and we'll be accepting volunteer applications pretty close up to the con date. If you come and want to volunteer, there's several perks with volunteering. You get a free badge. You get access to the staff lounge, free t-shirt. If you want to volunteer, go to everfreenw.com/volunteer.
Fantastic. So you hear that, listeners? Everfree Northwest wants you. So get into it. And listeners, don't forget the con book as space now available for purchase. Letters to Discord. Vendors list is now available. Really cool badge tiers. Foals, kids 12 and under. Get in for free with a paying adult. Weekend badges are $60. Patrons are sold out. And sponsors are $350 each. Single day passes are for Friday, $35. Saturday, $35. And Sunday, $30. So that's Everfree Northwest from the 29th to the 31st of May, 2015. Thank you very much, Tim and Brandon, for being on the I'm Brony and I'm Proud podcast. And I wish I was coming and I wish I was there to share in the awesome. All the fun.
Oh, come on, not again. No.
Yeah, we wish we could have you, man. Hey, maybe next year.
You never know. You never know. Thanks again, Tim. Thanks again, Brandon.
Have a good one.
Cheers.
This has been I'm Brony and I'm Proud. Lucky Knight speaking. Thanks for listening. Remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at IBAIP Show. Proud to be a Brony. Intro and outro by Black Griffin. My Little Pony, friendship is magic.
My little pony. I used to wonder what friendship could be. My little